Solen. Hello, everybody. God, I hate this moment. It's the moment where you're like, why did I accept you to do this? But now it's too late, so let's jump into it. First, my name is Robert. I'm an engineering manager for Instant Search, Web, and Mobile here at Algolia. And today I want to talk a bit about lesson learned, from building different mobile experiences. And I think we're a bit too optimistic when we said great, because not most of them were not great. And yes, you're not going to believe the number 6. So I started working on mobile around 10 years ago, and I built my fair share of applications. Some of these applications, they don't exist anymore. Some they worked, some they didn't. And I was always trying to ask myself, what can I do better? What actually, makes our customer use it? And always emphasizing on performance and new features. But at the end of the day, it seems like people, they don't care, they don't buy what you do. What they do is they buy why you do it. So when you build an app, when you build a service, why are you trying to solve? And if you don't have the answer to that, why are you doing actually at all? And there's this model called the Golden Circle, developed by Simon Sinek, which cluster like 3 main questions: why, how, and what. And in a lot of experience, it seems like people are always starting with the what. They know what they want to build. We're building this app. They come like, we're going to build a decentralized chat, whatever, blah, blah. How? Well, we're using deep learning and AI and things. Why? No idea. So by just changing a bit the way you approach things and always start with why. Why do I need this app or service? Or why do I need this feature? What is the problem I'm trying to solve? You have a good chance to maybe succeed and have a good experience. Then how, of course, is important. And at the end, it's just the what. And it seems like in average, now they're talking about mobile, the average user doesn't even know the difference between a native app and a mobile optimized website. So we'll see a bit further down the road, like some challenges, but the question is, do you know why you're building an app and not just a responsive website? And there was some research on why people, they actually download apps. It seems like a bunch of those people, they like the features that are not available on the web. Things like, biometric security and, GPS camera and stuff that now are even solved in the web. They love receiving updates and relevant notifications. They like using an app without internet, and all the other things: speed, better look and feel, and so forth. Now, first thing, when you actually build an app, you decide, okay, I know my why. I know exactly why I'm building and why I need to do it. A good experience starts way before you actually download the app. So let's take an example. I go in the store and I'm looking for an app, something to help me go camping or, find restaurant, hotels and things like that. And I find this app. And then I look a bit further and I find this app. Which one am I going to choose? Okay, right? And it's something even interesting here. Like, people are not going to read your description. Like, it's proven. Like, some people, they write like 100 lines of description. Nobody's reading that. But here in just 5 screenshots, I know what the app is doing, why am I using it, what it's going to do for me, and all the things that I can do. And good, the people download your app. But now, it seems like on average, 77%, they're actually going to stop using it in 3 days after they download it. And why is that? So we see that a bunch of people, the top one is annoying by notifications. In all the playbooks that we are going to read about mobile, they're going to say it's great because you can send notifications and things like that. And I think people, they just take it literally. So they're going to spam you with a bunch of notifications. Complex registration is another thing that's going to frustrate you. Freezing, bad UI, and things like this. So are you actually addressing any of this problem when you work on your app or on your service? If not, you should probably pay attention to it. So first lesson, use notification wisely. So on my phone, basically last Friday, I got 168 notifications. Well, that's quite a lot, right? Some of the app that I'm using it to remember take my medicine, or I know take my daughter to the doctor, which are important for me. But they're hidden within a bunch of other notifications just because some apps think they're funny. So when you send a notification, when you decide to do that, is ask yourself, why am I sending that notification? What is the purpose for the customer itself? Is just a trick to get him back in your app, or is something that is gonna appreciate? Now, you download the app, great, and you want to use it because you were convinced by the promise of the app. And then you are gonna find something like this. So you're super excited, and then you have to go on like 5 steps where I'm explaining you all my concepts in the app and what you can do with it and whatever. Great, but I didn't download it to learn. People, again, they don't like reading, and they don't like spending time on things that are meaningless. And then I see the onboarding. Now I need to log in. I need to give you my phone, my email, my whatever. And I didn't even test the value of your app. So what am I going to do? I don't have time for it. I'm just going to move on. Even worse, I open your app and you tell me to log in on a service that I never used. And I don't know how to create an account. Well, you cannot apparently. You have to go on the website to create a thing, but they don't say it. Okay, I'm going to delete again your app. So some things that you can do is actually showing tutorials whenever you need them. So here, in this screen, instead of like explaining me from the beginning what's going to happen, is I see something is happening, and you're just going to show a just-in-time tutorial. Say, okay, this thing here that just appeared, it's because you made a mistake. So no big deal, and you're explaining why. Or even if it's something more complex, like a mechanism that is hidden, you can just show it, animate it. It's like, well, in order to do this, you just dismiss. And I don't know how many knows Duolingo. They have a really cool intro. They don't force me to create any account. And they actually gonna give me an interactive tour to discover their product while I'm actually using it for the purpose of the app. So they tell me, what do I wanna learn? I go French, and then why are you learning this language? For different reasons. They try to put me on a path so they can show me the best experience for me and not for everybody. And even like the goal that I want to put. And they even tell me, don't worry, you can actually change it later. Now, I start using their system, I start using their app, and I actually engaging with it, and I'm learning, but I'm using it for the purpose, right? So how can you make your app, more intuitive and like teach them how to use it while discovering your product? Another big part is when we build features, we all think about like, let's put this feature and this feature and this feature because we think it's cool. But people are overwhelmed. So every screen that you're going to build, it should have only one main purpose. So let's say, and actually some interesting stat is only 9% of your customers are actually going to stay on the app if the app doesn't satisfy their needs. So 40% are less likely to return, 28% likely to purchase, 29% they're going to switch directly to a competitor. Like when I open this app, basically this is the first page, and on the first page I only have one task. Main task is I can discover their products and I can see what's there. Then if I want to start searching, they even give me a small hint, like try this kind of thing, so I know how to use it. And now it's a new page. And the goal of this page is just help me get the information. So they're paying a lot of attention to typing still sucks on mobile, so they give me suggestions and tap ahead and things like that. And then I move to the next page. One goal here, discovering my results. And they even explain why they show this. So I see the brand is there, the color that was identified, and so on. When I want to filter, same thing. Don't do it on the same page, right? And something that they're putting a lot of attention into it is inform your customers. So now I'm selecting some filters. And I see, now when I apply the color brown, well, I only have 10 results. And now I select the material and I see 6 results. The reason it's important to do this is you want to inform the customer about, the consequence of his action. So if I apply a bunch of filters and I go back to my list after, and I see 0 results, I'm going to be frustrated and I'm going to be lost because I have no idea which filter destroyed my search. Where here, at each step, you inform him and you guide him. As you saw, people, they use apps because they like the speed. And speed is important. Because of all those 29% percent of the customers that are actually moving to a competitor is because 70% of the time it takes too long to load. So if you have to wait more than a second or two, people are gonna get frustrated and are gonna leave your app. So how can you improve that? Or 67% because it takes too many steps. So in this case, for example, like I found my jacket and now I want to see the details. Yes, of course, there's network latency and all these kind of things. So it's going to take a while to load. But what you can do is you already have some information that from your product, like the name, the price. Display that. Display that first, and then asynchronously load the other things. And then the customer is going to have the impression that, you know, things are happening and they see something. It's not just a blank screen waiting and waiting. Then, of course, when you have mobile, you have access to an entire ecosystem and an entire of features. And leverage those features to actually enhance the experience. So you have the context. You have the type of the device, the time of the day, location, things about the person, the history, and all these kind of things. Like, how can you use this and leverage this data in order to actually solve a problem and like minimize the number of steps that the person needs to take in order to accomplish whatever he wants, right? So if I'm looking for restaurants and all the restaurants around me are closed, just show me in priority the one that are open. Like, I don't need to check a restaurant that is closed, right? And now, one of the last points is accessibility. And I'll be honest, in all the apps that I worked on, it's one of the top thing we always ignored. It seems like 56 million people, you know, only in US, and almost 1 billion in the worldwide, they actually have a disability. There are some numbers. There are 48 on the millions on mobility, 17 millions on hearing, and so on. You're trying to build great products and you're trying to solve real problems. But are you thinking about these people that, you know, might not be able to use your app the way that people without disability can? And then all the native platforms, even like web and all these kind of things, they do support tools and best practices in order to enhance and like address all these issues. Like, think at least, you know, what can you do, just small things in order to improve this. And of course, last important topic is engage with your users, because you're going to create services, you're going to create products, but at the end of the day, you're going to create them for your customers. And the beauty of, you know, Apple's App Store and Google Play is the customer can interact with you. And they can give you advices and they can tell you what is frustrating for them. And you should learn from that. You should iterate and improve your product. So this is what happens when people are not happy. They're not just going to go home. They're just going to say it out loud. And other people are going to read it. Then, you know, more and more. But here, you shouldn't be frustrated. You should interact with those people. You should talk to them. And you should actually iterate until you actually get to a product that, and to reviews that are saying, okay, it's fun, easy way to shop. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Do you have any question? Yeah.
Questions?
Okay, was clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for sharing lessons on how to build great mobile experience. So thank you, Robert, for sharing your lessons from building a great mobile experience. Let's now welcome Loïc. So Loïc is working with a mobile team specialist on how to improve customer experiences for French advisors in France. Yes, French advisors. So Loïc is ready. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yeah, so I've got a team of mobile experience consultants, and we are working for advertisers. We are working for advertisers in France, trying to improve the mobile conversion rate and therefore improve the ROI of the advertising campaign. Why we are doing that? It's because mobile internet users in France are mobile first. They are spending most of their time on their smartphone on internet, especially when you look at the 15 years old, 34-year-old people. They are spending like almost all their internet time on a smartphone. But the experience that we have today on mobile sites in France are not really good, pretty slow, not really reactive, and the interface are not that optimized for mobile. So we think that we have some room for improvement, especially because when you look at the conversion rate on mobile sites, it's usually half or a third of desktop conversion rate. So it depends on the sector you are in. For instance, retail apparel are pretty robust on mobile. The m-commerce figures are pretty good, but in a lot of sectors, it's not that good. And so my goal is to improve this conversion rate on mobile and try to catch on the desktop one. So what we said is the internet users, they want an experience that is mean instantaneous, intuitive, individual, and innovative. So it's speed, it's UX, UI, personalization, and on innovation, it's like voice and maybe image. Today, I will just talk about instantaneous and intuitive. So on speed, clearly today we are in the attention economy, and brands have only a small amount of time of interest from the users, and the users, their attention span is really, really low. Like right now, it's only 8 seconds, according to some source somewhere. I don't remember who we get that, but let's say Google. And that's why what we want to achieve is like display information in less than 3 seconds on a web page. Actually, when we deep dives on the impact of speed on conversion rate, you can see here that if the page load in less than 3 seconds, it's where you have the biggest impact on conversion rate. Also interesting, if your website today load in 10 seconds, you work really hard, and now it loads in 6 seconds, you won't have any big impact on your performance. So what you need to achieve is like try to achieve less than 5 seconds and then less than 3 seconds. So your goal should be instantaneous load time. And I've got many customers who like have 50-second load time on average, and we reduce to 8 seconds. But in terms of impact, we need to go further, and it's a long way. We try to help you with these incentives. So last year we had the SEO in mobile SEO. Speed is a ranking factor since last summer last year, and at Chrome Dev Summit we announced this that we are planning. So it's not live, but we are planning to flag sites that are usually slow, and we will use a green progress bar when we see that sites are fast. So it's incentives to be sure that sites are fast enough. We provide tools to help web developers and product owners to improve speed. The main one is Google PageSpeed Insights. We merge a bit Google Lighthouse. We also have Lighthouse, Chrome extension, and also it's in the dev tool of Chrome. But we merge the data from Lighthouse in PageSpeed Insights. Here you have the main KPI that you should use, the speed index, the average, like roughly the average time it takes to display element above the fold. And here, so you have some data that are from our server. And the first element here, it's data from the Chrome user experience report. So it's user data. So it's some users on Chrome are sharing their performance data only, anonymized. So the time it took to load a page with us, and we aggregate that data, and everyone can see on your most important landing page your key data. You also have, it's not here, but the main opportunities ranked by impact. So that's really cool, like compress your images, work on your JavaScript, etc., etc. It's a long-term project. It shouldn't be a one-off. We've seen that 40% of brands who optimize their speed regress after 6 months. So usually when you do, okay, let's do a task force, we will improve speed. Well, we improve speed by 2 seconds after 2 months, but then after a year, you will have added a chatbot on your website and maybe like biggest images, etc. And it will be a pain. So it should be a continuous process. Our main advice is you should have a dashboard to monitor speed. You should have select a main KPI. Shared your KPI between the product team, the marketing team, and the developer team, the IT team. It's not an IT KPI only. It should be shared, and that's really important if you want to have a success. And you will progress 1 second by 1 second. It's not like you don't have magic solution. Intuitive. When we look at interface, also we don't have that much mobile-first interface in France. As an example, maybe are you aware of AMP stories? Who knows? No one? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So it's a kind of new format. It's based on accelerated mobile pages framework, so an HTML framework that is designed for speed, and it's a mobile-first framework. The goal here is to build stories. So you're pretty familiar with that. You build stories, but it's on HTML, and you can leverage your stories on your website. So you can integrate this interactive mobile-first immersive format into your mobile site. But you can also leverage them for your Google Ads search campaign or your emailing campaign or whatever you want. It's really powerful for product launch, etc. It's a product that is so it's live. You can check, for instance, if you go to bmw.com, then you will see discover our stories, and you will be able to deep dive into that. So that's built for speed and for mobile in mind. When we looked at what user liked, it's really what Robert shared previously. We have apps that have a small reach but high capabilities. And usually your apps is for your most loyal customer. Only your most loyal customers will download an app and will keep an app on their smartphones. But they like it because it's really fast, it's very it's easy to access it, and it's working offline, etc. Mobile sites, it's the biggest reach, but lower capabilities until now. So what we try to do at Google, we try to increase the reach of apps thanks to Google Play Instant. So like kind of you're able to stream your app on a Google search result. The app deep link to redirect some traffic, web traffic to your app, and the new Android slice. It's to be able to take some content from your app and display it into the Google sites and later in Google Assistant. So it's a way to increase the reach of your app. And on the web, it's mainly the progressive web apps, PWA. Progressive web apps, it's like an umbrella term. It's not a technology by itself. It's an umbrella term with a lot of best practice and APIs. So let's deep dive a bit on what is it. The goal is to provide an app-like experience for your users. Your user kind of really want an app-like experience on the web. They want something fast. They want to access easily to your content, so be installable, reliable, so with an offline experience and more engaging. So how it works? What you should do is you should add a service worker to your website. With your service worker, you will be able to have a better management of the cache of the device, and then speed up the process, especially for the reload. So when the user will reload or revisit your site, you will be able to have a better and a faster consumer journey. Because you can, with service worker, you can pre-cache, pre-fetch some content. Be installable. On the left side, you have Starbucks. It's on Android, so you have a pop-in that push you to install a shortcut on your home screen. And when you click on this shortcut, you have a full screen immersive experience, not in Chrome, so it really looks like a native app. And on the right, it's on iOS. It's on iOS, you should explain to your users that they can tap and add the shortcut. So it's not it's not system based, but it's still you are able to have the full screen experience also on iOS. Right, since this summer on Android, you are able to catch the event, like the pop-in, and build your own message into your website. This is Mintra.com, an Indian e-commerce site, where all along the funnel, the journey, you explain the benefit of the user to install a really light web app that enable offline experience, for instance, so really powerful. With that, you can also propose offline experience to your web users. So if you go to France Culture website, when you're offline, they preload the most read, the most viewed article. So the best article are preloaded by default. Trivago, they pushed a little game to when you have a lack of connection, just to keep you on the site. With Air France, you can have your boarding pass on your website, so you don't have to download a native app if you just travel once with Air France. The last one is Etam. Etam, all the customer part of their website. So the wish list, for instance, is accessible offline. So when you are in store, you have your wish list accessible if you have a low quality network, for instance. And Trivago, the goal here is to keep the user on your site if they have a low quality, like if for 3 minutes because they are on error, they want to browse your content. With that, they will stay on your website, browse the content, and then when the connection come back, they will stay on your website. That's the data we get from Trivago. Push notification, I think you know it. You can drive users to subscribe to notification on the web, and even if Chrome is not open or other navigator except Safari, you can push them some message. The goal here is to have timely, precise, and relevant notification. So don't ask a user when they come to your site directly, hey, subscribe to my promotion. That's bad. Keep the UX in mind, so it's just at the right moment. Separate your service notification from your marketing notification to really think about user first and added value. Some stats: Rudy Commerce launched their progressive web apps, or like the best practice from progressive web apps, in January. People that have added the shortcut on their website and coming from this shortcut, bounce rate is divided by 2, conversion rate times 1.8, better average basket value, etc. You can check. Etam, the instant revisits from service worker. They also increase their desktop conversion rate because people browse a lot on mobile, and with this easier browsing on mobile, they increase their desktop conversion rate. And the mobile conversion rate increased by 30%, so pretty cool. You don't have to do it in a single sprint. You can iterate, like first work on your cache strategy with service worker and try to speed up your experience, then the at-home screen with your custom banner, then try to think about some offline experience, what is the best for you, and then maybe later some push notification. What we see right now, it's like the latest my pure players, mainly brands, they are when they build a new website right now, they are using single page application with the new JavaScript framework, so Vue.js, Angular, or React. And with that, we are publishing on web.dev, it's our website for developer, some React and some Angular best practice. And with that in mind, and with progressive web app, you can really improve the customer journey. So for me right now, it's like single page app plus progressive web app. It's really like what you should have on the web mainly. And 2 more things. One is since this year, you can ship your progressive web app on Google Play Store. So if you don't have a native app, but you have a great website and a great user experience on website with an only front-end developer, web developer, then you can be present on Play Store. So pretty cool because you don't need a team of iOS or Android developer, at least Android here. And you can check a time, you can check weekend desk. They push this. If you have the money to have all the teams, that's good. So if you have the money, develop a really great native app with all your CRM, all value-added services with augmented reality, all that kind of stuff. If you don't have the money, then invest on the web and put your website on the Play Store. Some latest information from the Chrome Dev Summit that happened 2 weeks ago. Right now on the web, you can do authentication with biometry. You can do authentication with SMS with a single token received by SMS. It's automatically recognized by the browser, and you can log in. You can access the contact also to share information with your contact. You can write on files on your system. Finally, if you want to deep dive, you can go to web.dev and win on mobile with google.com. You have trainings on UX, on speed for your teams. Thank you. Questions, maybe? It was a bit fast. No questions? Who has a progressive web app? Okay, cool. That's why.
No question?
Well, thanks.
Thank you, Loic. It was great to have your feedback on how customers behave. So the last talk is with Kaylin Wang. So Kaylin Wang is an engineer manager at Content Square, and she's also a Android mobile specialist. So she will come today to speak with you about how to increase conversion on mobile.
Thank you, Solène. Okay. All right. A lot better. Okay, so how many of you has ever downloaded an app, opened it up, and never came back? Yeah. So how about some of you that were wondering about this app and not so sure, but you ended up downloading it and you happen to use it periodically? Not bad. I wonder why. Yes. So at the beginning, first when the smartphone were released, mobile apps were just made to satisfy basic user needs, such as calculations, adding contacts to your phone, maybe playing with the snake game, probably. But and they didn't really care about user experience. It didn't matter at all as long as they could have this few utility going on. So that was like a very fancy smartphone already. But that was the past. Right now, smartphone is the smartphone era. So basically, smartphones are very powerful these days. And the mobile apps are evolving, and they're becoming very, very, very competitive. And so what makes an app stand out and makes you want to keep on using it? It's all about the user experience. So the user experience starts to matter. Well, in fact, the user experience plays like the most important role for your application to convert. I guess you guys have heard this word a lot of time. Conversion rate, maybe. So what is conversion rate? So conversion rate is mainly the number of visitor that that performs an action over the total amount of visitors in your app. Conversion rate doesn't only happen in e-commerce app, but it also happens everywhere, every type of app, like traveling, social media, entertainment, music app, and game app, fitness, etc. But today, I'm gonna focus on e-commerce. So, as you guys have heard probably, e-commerce and mobile conversion rate has been increasing linearly lately for the past probably 6 or 7 years. And statistics shows that by the year of 2021, 72% of retail on e-commerce will come from mobile apps. And that is 3.56 trillion of revenue. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I can see all of you thinking about starting a e-commerce app right after this presentation. So, so before you're able to do that, you need to know what are your conversion goal for your app. So basically, conversion goal is the objective you set based on actions the user will take. So basically, conversion goals for an app, probably e-commerce app will be people to go through the checkout cart, to use your favorite list, to register, log in, etc. So how do we make that happen? How do we make your conversion goal happen with user experience? So I'm going to talk to you about the 9 top user experience that will make a very successful e-commerce app. So the first one is the product view. So basically, you want the user to be able to go into your product page and find the items very clearly. They should know where to find it. They should know, yeah. We also have the favorite list. You do want your user to remember to be able to go back to the products they probably like, they were hesitating, or to be able to compare them to the rest of the items they've chosen. So this gives them the liberty to be able to use the application for a bit, go out and come back and make the purchase. Navigation. So there are 4 ways to do navigation. So there is the hamburger menu, the search engine, of course, the login logo to go back to the main homepage, and what's the fourth one? I don't remember. Just kidding. So the fourth one will be the breadcrumbs. So that's where you see where to find the product. So in which category you can find it and easily go back to it. Filters and sort. So this is a very, very important part of your application. You want the user to easily find what they're looking at. This filter and sort should be in a separate page, and it should be functional and let them do their search as fast as possible. And the cart, of course, the shopping bag. So in the shopping bag, you should have very, very clear of the items you put inside. Having the pictures of your product, they should all be accessible. They should be all clickable. Of course, they should include the price, and they should be able to be modified and deleted. The checkout. So the checkout is where most of the applications loses their client. When they go to a checkout, they see all this crazy steps that they have to do. They have to put in their credit card. They're just, okay, no way. I'm not gonna spend all this time just to buy this little thing. So what is a good practice is to make the step as little as possible, as simple as possible. So that will be not having to register or log in. So you should be able to purchase by being a guest. You should be able to have a quick payment method, just like having PayPal and Apple Pay, because a lot of people usually don't like to leave their credit card information online, especially those who just like use the app for first time. They're like, not so sure whether this is like a legit app or not. So PayPal and Apple Pay are your best option. Also the delivery method, that is very important. So after you fill all your information and you pay for it, you want to know when you're gonna get a product. So make sure that you have your delivery information very clearly, have the address you want it to be delivered, also the date, and whether it is possible to do a click and collect way of delivery pickup. Okay, so registration. So the registration and sign-in should only appear in two scenarios. One is when you click on your account, and the second one just before the checkout. This should never appear before. Anywhere else, actually. So remember this. And they should also. You should also allow the user to do quick connect with their social media like Facebook and Instagram maybe. Forms, okay, so you should avoid this to the maximum. You should not use forms if you can, because it's a nightmare. So if you have to, you should do it as simple as you can, as dynamic as you can, very precise of what you want the user to put inside, and all the mandatory fields. And last but not least, the in-app message, of course. I'm sure all of you have this like message popping up after like certain amount of inactivity in the app. They come you, hey, come back and check this out. Yeah, the very annoying notification, but it actually works. It actually makes you want to go and say, oh yeah, I haven't checked this out for quite a bit. Maybe I should click in and see what's new, what's the latest. So this is one of the method that you can get your user hooked, engaged, re-engaged actually, into your mobile application. So above are the 9 ways to convert your app through user experience. And thank you very much.
Do you have some questions, maybe? It's quite silence today.
All right, so I guess everything was clear, so
Yeah, it was amazing.
have a good lunch.
So thank you very much. I'm just going to ask Loic and Robert to come on stage last time to thank them for those presentation. We'll be around, so if you have any question and you too shy, that's the perfect moment to speak with them. And next TechLunch will be next month, and next week we have the search party. So please join us. Thank you very much.